Hello and welcome. My name is Ravi Ozarkar, and today I'm going to talk about response spectrum analysis using GT STRUDL. This is part 2 of 3, and in this video we're going to take a look at using GT menu to create a model from scratch, and then using GT shell to perform response spectrum analysis. Okay, so all the steps that I'm going to be using in this video are documented in this knowledge base article. So it's not magic. So you can go in and refer to this document. You can download it from Smart Support if you like. But these are the steps. Okay. So the first step, as you can see, is to create the geometry using GT menu. If you don't want to do all these steps and just want to see the results, you can go right at the bottom and just copy and paste all these commands into GT shell also. And that should create the model for you also. So let me show you a demonstration of that. And you can do that with any STRUDL file. So let's say you had to, you don't want to type all this data for sure. So you can just copy Control-C and paste it into Notepad or any text application. And you can, grab or even grab everything and then edit it, So these are all the commands. And, right at the end, there is also, so and you can save this file as GTI and open it using GT STRUDL, okay? So there's one way you can get to the model that I'm going to show you, okay? But in this case, what I'm going to do is create the model using GT menu, which is the front-end graphics of GT STRUDL. I'll be using Model Wizard in this case, but it doesn't matter where the model comes from. You can build it any way you like, okay? So first thing that we're going to do is launch GT STRUDL 41, okay? Now you can also use GT STRUDL student version if you like, but I'm going to use the production version, okay? Now here, when you launch GT STRUDL, you get links to how-to videos here. You can go to Hexagon Live to watch some other training videos and so on, but then I'm going to go into GT menu, which is the front end of GT STRUDL, to create the model from scratch, okay? So here I am in GT menu. This is the front end graphics. As you can see, the first thing I want to do is create a plane frame model, okay? So here, if I look at it, this is how the model should look like, okay? So no problem, we'll just go to create and launch this option called Model Wizard. Again, this is GT STRUDL 41. If you wanted to do the same thing in older versions of GT STRUDL, you might have to go to GT shell or pick Model Wizard from that welcome screen that I just showed you, okay? So let's go to the plane frame option here. Well, we're going to create a very simple structure from scratch, use the unit system of feet and kips. Go to next. XY is the plane frame option. So again, the same model pops up here. We'll go next. We want fixed base. This is just a moment frame. We're going to accept these default shapes that we have. We could also create a load case. Remember weights. It doesn't matter. You can create that if you like. If you click on next, you can add more loadings if you want. Let's click on next, add a wind load. I'm not going to add anything. Click on next, and I'm going to check these boxes, physical members, and run analysis, and click on finish. It actually created the model for you and also ran the analysis for you. So if you click on done, you see your structural geometry created from scratch, okay? So now if you click on this button called Redraw Solids, you can see the shapes that we have assigned, okay? if you press I on your keyboard, which is like a shortcut to showing, to just show the isometric view, you can do that, or you can just click on this views tab on the right hand side. You can move this mode box, okay, and you can click on isometric view, and there it is, okay. So by doing this, we've already done like 12 steps, okay. Now, next thing is we want to show mode shapes, okay. So not everything is in this document, but I'll show you the steps, okay. So now if you wanted to see the mode shapes of this structure, you can go to analysis, linear analysis. That's actually what we ran, okay. We ran a linear static analysis, but then there's also this option called eigenvalue analysis, which is a fancy name for, hey, show me mode shapes, okay. And you can type the number of modes you want, how you want the mass distribution to work out. Okay, I'm going to use the lumped mass, or you can use consistent mass, okay. And you can just say solve dynamic analysis requested. That's a command to tell GT Strudel to calculate all the modes of vibration, okay. So in the previous video, we looked at how to calculate the stiffness of the structure and mass of the structure and period of the structure. It's actually going to do 10 of these calculations in like split second, and it's done, okay. So you can see all those calculations are done. Here is your periods, okay, shown to you. That's why we use computer programs. It took no time almost to calculate 10 modes for you, okay, for even that complex structure. We were just doing it for one column, right? Okay, so click on done. So how do we see those mode shapes? Okay, so now that's the next step in that document. Here, we need to go to results, mode shapes, mode options, and mode shapes, okay? So we go to results, mode options, mode shape, and here you see your mode shape, right? And you can just go animate that, okay, in the graphics. You can go to maybe second mode of vibration, third mode of vibration, and you can see your structure dancing, okay, and so on. So these are different modes of vibration. So that is basically what you need to do. Now, let me go back to the PowerPoint slides that I was showing you, okay? There are steps before you do a response spectrum analysis. First, you would need to create a geometry with one self-weight and run the analysis. That's what we did using the model wizard, right? Step number 2 is we run a dynamic analysis and review the mode shapes. Okay, so we have done that. Okay, now we're going to move on to these other steps, which is defining damping ratios, defining response spectrum. That's the response spectrum curve that I talked to you about in the previous video. And then we're going to define the response spectrum load directions, and then run the response spectrum analysis, okay? Okay, so I just wanted to give you a roadmap of where we're going. So let's go back to the GT Strudel graphics. This is our PDF document, okay? Now here, it says close the GT menu interface and go to modeling and so on, okay? So it wants us to use the GT shell environment, okay? No problem, but before we do that, it'd be nice to save this file, right? So if you go to File, you can save the model, or you can generate a GT Strudel text input file, okay? So let's go to do that. We'll just go to Generate GT Strudel text file, Generate input file, and save it as Response Spectrum RSA Analysis 1, okay? Save that. And if you double click here, you see the same text input file that I had copied and pasted, right? But with more data from GT menu, right? So this is the GT Strudel input file that we had created. So far, we can modify this okay, in the future. Okay, so let's cancel. I don't want to modify this. I'm going to close this dialog box. Okay, now as the instructions say, I'm going to go File, Exit GT menu. It didn't ask me if I wanted to save the model. I had already done that, but if you had not saved the model, it'll ask you, okay, do you want to save your model? Okay, just press yes to save the model. Okay, so we are in a more advanced mode called GT shell. Okay, the shell environment lets you type in commands that you just saw in that text file. Okay, so you don't need to type in those commands. Okay, but you could if you want. Okay, so here we go to modeling, loads, dynamics, and response spectrum, store response spectrum. Okay, but before we do that, I'm actually going to do step number 16 first. Okay, just preference wise, because that's how we had presented that in the PowerPoint. Okay, so we'll just go to modeling, dynamic properties, and specify damping. Okay, so modeling, dynamic properties, specify damping, and here we're going to give these properties 0.05 as the damping ratios. Remember those 10 mode shapes that we had created? We're going to assign a damping ratios to all those mode shapes, okay? So we're going to go to modal damping 0.05 and assign it to first 10 modes of vibration, okay? And store that, okay? Click on OK. That is your command, okay? So this is your GTI command. So you don't need to type in these commands. You can even take these commands and, Control C and copy it to, the file that we had generated, okay? So what was that file called? We called it RSA analysis, okay? I think we have that file under, just going to File, generate input file. Oh, I put it under downloads folder. Okay, so that's fine. I didn't remember the location. Let's go back into Explorer, downloads. This is my file. Open with Notepad, scroll down, and you can just input these commands here, okay? So you can modify this file anytime and just save it for later stage. What you can also do is you can put in these comments using $signs in that file, and you can just say, this is my damping ratio. So, engineers or reviewers can tell what you're doing even after 10 years, or so. Okay, so we will continue this in the next video. So we looked at how to basically create the geometry using one self-wait command and run the analysis using the GT menu and model wizard option inside GT STRUDL. We reviewed the mode shapes and we also defined the damping ratios. In the next video, we'll take a look at how to define the response spectrum inside GT STRUDL and defining the direction of the response spectrum load, and then actually running the response spectrum analysis.